God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. There is no death, the Son of God is free. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Now are we one with the one who is our source. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Okay, those are the lessons for today. Lesson 177, God is but love, and therefore so am I. I have been saying, since we've started this review, this is review number 5, that the key here is the word but. The word but, B-U-T. God is only love. That is what but means here. God is just love. God is nothing but love, right? And therefore so am I. Now that's challenging, right? I think to understand what that means is that God is only love. We tend to think of God as a person or a personality or a being. And when we say being, we don't say like beingness. We think of like a being, like a human being, right? Like I'm a human being, you're a human being. But we don't think of God as a beingness or a ground of being. And it seems to be what this is getting at. There is no death. The Son of God is free. If God is only love, and love is the only reality, and if I am as God created me, which was yesterday's lesson, and I therefore am also love, because God being love can only create love, then death is an illusion, right? Death is not a reality, because my true self is still that loving self. My true self is still where it's always been, right? Because God has never changed, and I have never changed. So death is an illusion. Death is part of this world of illusion. Death is the one thing Jesus says that the ego uses to convince us that this world is real, and that death ends everything, and that we are no more, and that life is not eternal. Now, what does Jesus mean by following the idea of there is no death with the Son of God is free? Well, the Son of God is not only Jesus, but the Son of God is all of us. The Son of God is every being, right? Animate and inanimate. But let's talk about human beings, that we're all the Son of God, right? We are all the one Son of God. And we are all free in that, in being that love and being connected with God eternally. We cannot be other than free. We've always been free, right? We're free right now. Right now, we are also what we've always been. And it's just waiting for us to accept that rather than to get caught up in any opposing thought, right? Any thought that of death or duality will bring us back to that feeling of being imprisoned or being stuck or suffering, whatever word you want to use. some form of being in a state of dis-ease, right? Or the Course also uses the word sickness. Sickness is not necessarily physical sickness. For the Course, sickness really is of the mind. A mind that is sick is one that is not connected to its true reality, right? So whenever we get out of that, whenever we take the hand of the ego versus the hand of Jesus, we have accepted sickness and we have accepted death. Jesus is just reminding us, there is no death. You are free. You do not have to be sick. You do not have to be in prison. You do not have to be depressed. You do not have to feel separated. You do not have to suffer. Those are all things that you can choose or not choose, right? Suffering is optional, as that quote goes, right? Suffering is optional. You don't have to choose suffering. That's up to you. Completely up to you. And only you. Now are we one with him who is our source. I changed that a little bit in the song. Now I said, now are we one with the one who is our source. Because ultimately, God is beyond gender, right? God can't be a man or a woman, a he or a she. But, I think that God can appear that way to anyone who wants that to be so, right? If you want to see God in a male form, then maybe God will take that form for you. If you want God in a female form, then God could take that form as well. But just keep in mind what Jesus is getting at here is that God is ultimately nameless and formless. And the word source here is with a capital S. Source is another term for God. You could use the word source. I've said this before. You could use the word God. You could use the word love. You could use the word source. You could use the word oneness. You could use the word self. You could use the word ground of being, or words, ground of being. You could use the word ultimate reality. Hey, bud. How you doing?
I found a pet. I caught a pet lizard.
Okay, but
I named him Hoodie. He's not even moving, so I'm going to get a bucket.
okay.
And a pick me a towel.
All right, buddy. Now are we one with him who is our source. Now is the important word here. Is that now, even right now, here in this world, we are still one. And we can live such that is the case, right? We can live in such a way.
Dad, Hoodie will like it because Hoodie is black. He's a black lizard. So, and inside this is black, so camouflage. And that's
Cool, bud. I'm going to be over in a second.
Eat him, so that's why I picked this one out.
So wonderful to have a child. It's really the most amazing thing to me. Maybe at some point I'll speak about that. But anyway, now are we one with him who is our source. Now is really the important word here. God has never changed. My true reality, which is part and parcel of God, has never changed. I am a loving creation of a loving creator. God is only love, therefore I am only love, therefore even now I am only love, right? My true reality. And it is for me to tap into what that true reality is, right? It's for me to get connected with my true reality and to let go of whatever false identifications I may have chosen along the way. And it will really transform you. It will really make all the difference in your life. And to have this understanding of that this is not a pie in the sky proposal that's being proposed here. This is right now you are still with God. Right now you are still at home. It's only that you have allowed certain things to get in the way. So I think my phone might shut off soon. So let's just conclude. is but love, and therefore so. Whoops. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Let me just add one little thing, important thing here. It says, now are we one with him who is our source. It doesn't say now am I one. A lot of these lessons are I, right? Therefore so am I. God is but love. It doesn't say God is but love and therefore so are we. It says so am I. There is no cruelty in God and none in me. It doesn't say none in we, right? There is one life and that I share with God. But here it says, now are we one with him who is our source. So that tells you that the I is really the we, right? Jesus does not mince words, right? Jesus is very particular about the words he's using. And this we is to remind you that it is a we, right? The Son of God is free, right? It follows with, and the Son of God is all of us. Now are we one, right? The Son of God is a we. It's not a me. It's not an I. Thought I'd just throw that in there. Hope that was helpful. Thank you so much. Blessed be.